Together with John, our operations director, and Slava, our operations manager for Central Asia, we came up with the assignments. We chose 2 routes that we execute on a regular basis that were vastly different. And there we asked the students, please zoom in. Both routes came from our actual portfolio with our actual customers, but one was for consumer goods. This is a route very common, very standard, so this is a very mature route which was already multimodal. So could it even be further improved?
Now we've seen over the past years quite a big interest of our customers in sustainability, and that's why we are actually constantly looking on optimizing our transports in a sustainable way. So we started with an interview, and the group interviewed me, and I gave them an overview of the whole project, the whole setup, the routes we do, the bottlenecks we have, and the things that can be changed.
First couple months this was the most difficult one.
Everything was so nonchalant, and we had to optimize emission, the cost, and the transit time. But it all sounds very easy. But you have to think about, okay, but where do I get this data from? So where to begin? I think that was the biggest challenge.
We spoke to multiple people also from the company. And also did a lot of research online. Yeah, the language was also a barrier, but we translated many times to English, so that helped.
The other group, they received some project logistics, which was oversized. So they had these additional challenges on how is oversized cargo handled in the eastern regions, in regions they were not familiar with.
Well, oversized cargo already by default is quite complex. If you add delivery into Central Asia, which is quite brings some additional hurdles into it. So this was for the group quite new. They didn't have much pre-knowledge about this. So by me interviewing them and explaining how it actually works, I think they got quite a lot of let's say ideas as well and possibilities.
The first focus for us was to find a completely new route. This did not seem possible in the end, and it certainly was not a better option than the route Ahlers was currently using. So therefore we started looking in the direction of CO2 equivalent.
Yeah, no, they were quite familiar with emission calculation in general, but they used a general tool. For this, we really asked them to go and calculate it themselves. So we guided them through the GLEC for most of the already, but for road, we asked them to go more fine granular, and there we gave them data sets from the handbook for emission factors, so they could go into a lot more detail. For vessels, also the students looked at the actual ships that transported these cargoes. Unfortunately, we were not able to find the emissions of these vessels, but yeah, the level of detail was what I think made a real difference and made it realistic.
We had 3 scenarios. In each scenario, you focus on one criteria. So in the first scenario, we optimize the emission. In the second one, we answer the bottleneck of the route. And in the third one, we only work on the worst case scenario. So we can actually make the worst case scenario less worse than it is.
For the consumer goods, we learned that we are doing it quite efficiently and quite price conscious. But there are some things we should consider. For project logistics, they went above and beyond. I mean, the initial learning is that the way we do it now is the most efficient route. But within that route, we can optimize. And in addition, they developed this really interesting tool.
So we've created an Excel tool where Ahlers can put in new data systems or transport legs separately, so we can have the cost, the time, and the CO2 calculations. And then we made it just simple, very easy to put in the start location from where you want the goods to start from, and then the end location. And then Ahlers just needs to press one button, and then they receive the best optimal routes.
Yeah, I think it was also very surprising how complex the route already was. It was asked to us to make it easier or cheaper or more environmentally friendly, even when the route was already so complex.
The comparison of especially the emission between Europe and Central Asia is really big. I already expected different numbers, but I was not expecting that big numbers.
Since the project was about oversized equipment, I was quite surprised that we needed, if we would be using the train between a Chinese port and the border, we would be needing an additional wagon in the train just for security purposes only.
Now that we have the results of the project, we will evaluate internally and try to transform it into a proposal to our customer. And I'm quite optimistic about the outcome of that operation.
For me, it was really fun actually. We learned a lot of things.
And I think it's impossible for a study to be this much in detail. So a project like ours was really an opportunity to go really in depth.
For me, I really liked that it was not only in Europe but international.
Maybe when I have some free time in the summer, it might be possible that I try to make a website out of it. I know it won't be easy, but I think it's quite a fun challenge.
From my side, I am really happy to see these 7 motivated, smart young professionals choose our logistics industry, and I cannot wait to see what they will do in the future and the impact they will have.